gentlemen, so today we're going to be working on something called an inverse. And we know from earlier, when we did all of our properties, that inverse means the opposite. Right? We have the multiplicative inverse, which is when we flip and make the reciprocal. We have the additive inverse, which is the opposite. In order to do this, you're going to switch x and y values. All right, the notation. So when you see something about the inverse, instead of it being f of x, right, f of x is the normal one, it's going to have a little -1 up there, and that's telling you that that's the inverse. It's read inverse of f of x, right? F of x is a function. We've worked on that. All right, steps to finding them algebraically. We're going to be doing algebraically, and we're going to be doing graphically. So the first thing is we're going to say you're going to replace, there we go, f of x with y. Then you're going to switch your x and y values. You're going to solve it for y. So all that stuff that we did with those literal equations where we were rearranging is really coming into play here. And then you're going to replace y, with the correct notation, f -1 of x. Okay, now sometimes, these are the easiest problems, sometimes they just give us a set of points and all I have to do is just rewrite them, switching the values. So in other words, fancy brackets, you guys know how good I am. We have -10, 4, right? All I did was I just switched those around. Then the next one would be -19, 7, and 17, -5. And I'm going to put the last one down here just because I don't want to run into the next problem. 11, -3. So those are the easiest ones to do. There's a set of points, switch them, you're done. So over here, so we don't have to worry about replacing f of x because it's not in this particular problem. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the x and the y position. So this is now going to be 3x minus 12y equals -72. Now I'm going to go through and I'm going to solve it. I want to get y all by itself. So I have to subtract 3x. So -12y equals -3x minus 72. Now I have to go through and divide by -12. And the thing we have to remember is that I have to divide each piece by -12. Okay, it's not just doing the first one. So the 12s cancel. -3 divided by -12, I'm going to keep it as a fraction and reduce it down to 1/4 x. -72 divided by -12 is +6. And then I'm going to replace this. So this is now going to be f -1 of x, the inverse, 1/4 x plus 6. All right, let's try another one. So here I have one that's f of x. So again, I'm going to rewrite it as y equals. I'm going to flip my x and y. So I'm going to have x equals 2/5 y plus 10. Now I have to get y by itself. So I'm going to subtract 10. X minus 10 equals 2/5 y. To get rid of the fraction, I have to multiply by the reciprocal, but I'm multiplying the entire side by the reciprocal. And now I'm going to distribute. So this is going to be y. This is going to be 5/2 x. 5/2 times 10 is -25. And then I'm going to replace it, and I'm going to put in that we have 5/2 x minus 25 equals f -1 of x. All right, so hopefully not so bad. So is f of x equals 1/4 x plus 2 the inverse of g of x equals 4x minus 8? Couple of ways you can do it. I'm going to take the g of x function, and I'm going to replace that with y, and I'm going to actually do the inverse and see if I get what f of x is. So first I have to flip 4y minus 8, solve for y, so add 8 to both sides. divide everything by 4. So x over 4 plus 2 equals y. So these match. Because saying x over 4 and 1/4 x is the same thing. So yes, when, how about when? Sorry. When you take the inverse of g of x, you get f of x. Okay, here's one now in a word problem. Marianne pays a $29.99 monthly fee for her cell phone package, which includes 700 minutes. She gets billed 30 cents for every minute she uses the phone past the 700. The total monthly cost, which they're writing as a function, c of x, of Marianne's cell phone packet is c of x equals 0.30x plus 299, where x is the number of minutes beyond 700. Find the inverse. So I'm going to take out c of x, I'm going to put in y. I am going to flip spots, x equals 0.30 y plus 29.99. Solve for y, so I have to move my 29.99 over. So x minus 29.99 equals 0.30y. Divide by 0.30. Now, because I'm trying to divide by a decimal, I can just show it like that and keep it as one big division problem. So I'm just rewriting it over here. Equals c negative 1 of x. What do x and c negative 1 of x represent? Well, what happens is that now, because I did the inverse, they changed what their meanings are. So in the original function, x was the number of minutes, and c of x was the cost. Well, now it's reversed. X is the cost, c negative 1 of x is the number of minutes past 700. So now I can use that, the inverse function that I wrote, if I'm trying to find the number of minutes. So how many additional minutes did Marianne use if her bill was this? So this is now 48.89 is now your x. So 48.89 minus 29.99, all divided by 0.30. And when you put that into your calculator, you're going to get 63.3 repeating minutes, which would round to 63, assuming they don't charge you for parts of a minute. All right, any questions? As always, bring them to class, but have a good night.